Welcome, YouTube. Welcome. This is your boy Lone Wolf, the host of Wolves TV, the Lone Wolf podcast, as well as, just giving my opinion as a fellow Candace Owens listener and viewer. She brings on someone today I think it was today. I saw it today, y'all, but she brings on someone I've been wanting to hear from, someone that she has been speaking on her entire, I guess, celebrity sphere or celebrity era. She's been talking about this person, and I just wanted to know, like, who is the guy? Like, how does he talk? Who is he? Like, it's just something I feel like if we got a little bit of insight on him, we would actually be able to see a better version of Candace or a different version of Candace, or at least get a better understanding of who Candace Owens is. So we're going to get right into it. I want to watch the podcast, or I guess you could say it's an interview style, or just where we're meeting her husband, and we're gonna get right into it. I want to see this.
Me 6 years to book this next guest. Very difficult person to book, but I made it happen. George Farmer, welcome to Candace.
Hi, honey.
How come it's taken? Why do you never come on my show? I try so hard to get you on the show, and it's been 6 entire years since you've done that.
You know, your skills are in front of the camera. Mine
Yeah,
are behind them.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I like to let you do your thing. I do my thing. We do our own things, you know.
Well, I have a list of questions that the internet.
First, first opinion of just looking at dude. He's a good looking dude. Just kind of chill. Seems to be like shy, reserved type of dude. They seem like
Internet would like to ask
Oh
you.
dear, oh dear.
Don't worry, it's not too bad. I will start. Obviously, people love to hear the story about how we met because it was, I wouldn't even say a bit like a rom com. It actually was a rom com featuring Russell Brand, who does a lot of rom coms. He's actually known for a lot of rom coms. And so, for those of people that don't know the story, it was a wintry night in London. I was filming a podcast with a very communist Russell Brand, by the way. I would like to be very clear.
Yep.
He was very far on the left.
Yep.
And it was his Under the Skin podcast, supposed to be for like an hour. It ended up being
I'm trying to see where are they at. Is that a Russian lit book in the back? That's cool. War and Peace.
being 3 hours of filming. And you had a friend, Paul Joseph Watson, who was a mutual friend, but I had never met him. And he and I were supposed to meet up to finally meet off of the internet just to say hi to each other. And he never told me that he had actually organized an entire dinner for me and for Charlie Kirk with about 30 people. So I had no idea that there was a dinner being thrown in my honor in which he kind of pawned it off to you to organize a dinner. So I arrive 3 hours late. My assistant informs me that there are a bunch of people waiting for me. I get out of Russell Brand's house and I was very apologetic when I arrived 3 hours late because I like to be punctual. And I sat next to you and you basically said nothing to me.
Correct. Yeah. I did what I've done for the past 6 years. I just said nothing.
See, this is the Candace we've been wanting to see. We want to see her kind of, they want to see that shell cracked a little bit, just to see, like, how does she smile around the people she loves? Like, how does she look at them? Like, we just wanted to see a little bit of that. Like, people do want to see stuff like that, especially from public figures. Like, they want to know how you are around your family. They want to know how do you communicate with other people outside of the media space.
And it worked.
And it worked. Yeah,
It
there we go.
absolutely
And then you
worked.
married me, so I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18 days
Yeah,
later,
that's right.
we get engaged. And I think the first question that a lot of my audience members have is how did your family and friends react to that? This American girl just breezes on in, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to get married to this person that I barely know after 18 days.
Well, most of my friends thought that
Now that was shocking to me. That like, cause I don't think I've ever heard her say that before. You know, maybe it was early in her days of doing content or something. But I've never heard her say that. I've always heard her, basically speak about how she's happily married and in love. But I never knew it was 18 days. That is kind of fast. But then again, like sometimes if you know, I guess. And I mean, I'm not one of those people that think you have to wait years to see if you want to marry somebody or it would be too fast to marry somebody because some people got married after a short time of knowing each other and stayed married until they died, you know.
I was crazy, and I'm still not sure they've recovered from that opinion. Um, but the family took it pretty well. I mean, my parents were pretty. They again were like a bit kind of like, okay, this is very crazy, very odd, but sort of we'll go along with it and see where this goes. And then they met you. I think that was a big game changer for a lot of
Sorry, y'all.
people because when they meet you, they're always as in awe as I was when I first met you. But they were very receptive, and after a while, I think everyone realized that it was real. And that was the really big hurdle to get over. Was that everyone initially thought, "Is this crazy? Is this just like a fire-flung romance?" And then it was like, okay, this is actually real. This is happening. They're going to get married, and then they kind of moved. The mood sort of moved to acceptance, and people got on board, and then they realized how great you were, and then everyone was pretty happy about it.
Did you have any friend who, unbeknownst to me, was like, listen, mate, as they say in the UK, listen, mate, you are making a really bad decision, the worst decision possibly of your life?
No, not really. I mean,
Is it a credit to them or a discredit to them?
yeah, probably. I think it's a credit to them. Yeah, I mean, I think my best man, Nick, who you obviously know very well, his original reaction was, "You're crazy, and this is never going to happen." That was really when I first met you. Like on the first night that we first met, people were very. When I went back from that night, I was like, okay, there's this girl, very interesting, like this could go somewhere, all that kind of stuff. And his initial reaction was, "You're completely insane." But then,
As it would be for most guy friends, if my guy came to me and said that he had just met a girl 3 weeks ago and he wants to get married to her, I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay. Who is she? Do you
by
know her?
come January, come February, come March of the next year, which was 2019 when we got married, it was like, yeah, this is happening, and this is good. This is good. Everyone likes you.
I remember for me, I didn't have anybody in my personal life that was saying, don't do this, but I definitely had people in my professional life who were saying, I will never forget this. We have to call him out, right? We do. Charlie Kirk, Charles Kirk, if you are watching right now. But obviously, he was very young, and both of us were just so absorbed with politics, and we were traveling together everywhere. Charlie really was like a little brother to me. And I remember he's just like, you just cannot do this. You don't know this person. And then one of the donors to Turning Point USA was telling him it would be very bad for my brand. And that really stuck with me. That one of the donors said, it would be very bad for your brand for you to like not marry a black guy from the projects or
That's kind of crazy because you would almost think that it would be more on brand for Candace to not date someone black if the whole trope behind why people don't support or don't like Candace is that she hates black people. Wouldn't you think it would be more beneficial if that was her actual intent or rhetoric to date someone outside the black community?
something like
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah.
And I was sort of rebutted,
Do
this
you think
isn't
it's
a
been bad for your brand?
sort of
That's the
rebutted.
real question. I think that's like, is it bad for your brand now?
Well, I do not typically consider who I'm going to marry as a brand decision, which is what I explained to
Maybe you
them.
should.
Yeah. But yeah, we got married and we proved the naysayers wrong. It's been a lot of learning experience. I think another question that a lot of people have is, what is the most difficult part about being married to Candace Owens?
How long have we got? Um, well, I like to joke with you, and you know that I tell you this joke. So really, this is just for the audience, but I like to joke that there are many different women I'm married to because I'm never quite sure who I'm going to get in one day. So it's like someday I'm going to get one personality, and the next day it's this personality, and then you've got your investigative journalist hat on, and then you've got your mother's hat on, and then you've got your Catholic hat on. So there's a few hats that you're wearing at any one point in time. So it's always fun. I wouldn't say that's difficult. It's really just a joy of who you are as a person.
You're being kind.
I
It's
am
also
being
been a
kind.
tremendous challenge. And I think personally to you, because you're so different from the environment that you're now stuck into, which is to say,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
are an Englishman. You like to retreat,
Mm-hmm.
sort of read your texts, a quiet place with a cigar.
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is all correct.
This is all very correct. And then you marry this sort of loud American. You don't like taking pictures, you don't like being seen or photographed. And then you marry this loud American. And so you've really had to adjust, I think would be the correct word.
Yeah, it is the meeting of the two cultures is perfected in our marriage, I would say. Yeah, the bombastic Americanism versus the retired English persona has definitely been like fine tuned. But I think that I love America. I mean, it goes without saying, but I love the American spirit and culture, and you obviously embody much of that. It's much more exciting in so many ways than England, and that's not to say that I don't love England because I do love England, but there are parts about England which really are just quite like melancholic, I would say, and quite.
Okay, we're gonna come back to this. I want to come back to this. I got a couple of things I gotta do, so we're gonna cut this short. But I will say that I kind of like this dude so far. He seems to be a good fit for Candace as far as like on a communicative level. They speak each other's language. It seems that I feel like she being around him and maybe he around her, they become very, how could I say this? They're very punctual with their words. They're very, they hit every T, cross every I. I think she seems to be happy with dude. They've been married. I mean, after 18 days, I think meeting somebody after 18 days and getting married is kind of wild. But they've been married for what, a couple years, 5, 6 years, something like that. I don't know. But I mean, it seems to be good. Seems to be good. Seems to be great according to them. So shout out to Candace Owens. But I'm gonna follow up on this later, man. But I'm gonna get off here for a minute.